Do you believe in law of attraction?
I do. I'm much more aggressive to it. So my understanding and the way that I portray it is like when you set a goal, when you have something that you need to achieve, some say, well, it's going to happen. It's part of the process. I remove failure from the equation. It's not even an option. When I set my mind to do something, this business was different.
Look at me, habibi. Dubai Jeep, let's get it. Look at me, habibi. Dubai Jeep, let's get it. Bags, expensive.
Don't touch me. Back it up, back it up, back it up, back it up. Nah, I have to back it up, back it up, back it up, back it up.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Stroke of Success podcast. It's your favorite host, KB. Today is a special episode. It's the first official Roundtable episode I'm doing today, and this took a lot of work, a lot of coordination with these amazing individuals next to me. Roundtable is a concept I took from another podcast, a channel where you have different entrepreneurs from different vertical niches sitting down, and we'll share some topics. What's going on in their businesses, what works for them, how's their journey been, and hope to provide you guys some value. So today I want to start with Jim Surprenant. How are you, man?
Good brother, how are you?
Good to see you, buddy.
Glad to be here.
Awesome. Wael Georgey.
How you doing?
How you doing, bud?
Very well. Thanks
Well,
for the
this is
invite.
Wael's second time back on the podcast, right? We did a year ago almost.
That's right.
And last but not least, my brother, Miguel Wilches. How you doing?
Good, man. Happy to be here.
Buddy, you were my first, second, or third virtual podcast.
Yeah.
And by the way, that was a huge hit.
Thank
A
you.
lot of my family, friends saw that and they were amazed how
Thank you.
young you are and how much success you have. So good stuff. Want to get started, gentlemen?
Let's do it.
Awesome. We'll start with you, Jim. So where you from?
Boston originally.
Got it.
Moved to Florida 8 years ago or so.
Okay. What brought you down here?
At the time, my wife's company had offered her a opportunity to come down and to take a position down here. I was a business owner up north, but it's just different. I was in the auto industry, same one I'm in now. But we're busy during the summer, slow in the winter, and just new opportunity. And I
took
said, hey,
it.
let's go.
That's awesome. What do you exactly do, Jim?
So my main business, we customize protective coatings and care and customization. We specialize mostly in the highline market, so that's what we're kind of known for. Is we cut off a little corner, the supercars, hypercars, high value stuff. So very quality based, as well as we buy, sell, broker deals, and a few other businesses within the same facet.
That's amazing. What's the company name? Or your company's names?
Wolves Den Customs. So you can usually tell, you see the
I love
Wolves
it. I love
shirts or stickers, the
I
brand.
love it. Good stuff. Wow, my man. Tell about yourself, man. Where you from? How long you been in the U.S. here?
I'm from Syria. I was
Okay.
born in Syria. Been in the U.S. since '97. I'm a real estate broker. I flip houses. I do some Airbnbs. Primarily, my business is in real estate.
How long you been a broker for?
8-9 years.
Wow, 8-9 years. Okay, and what's the company name?
Properties in town.
Property in town. Awesome, my man. Bill.
Yeah, so Miguel, I'm originally from Colombia, born and raised. I've been in the United States for about 8 to 9 years, and I'm in the solar industry. So started selling solar, then created a team, then created a company, and it's called Sunbright Solar. I've been in business for about 5 years now.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you, man, Miguel. Thank you. He's welcomed me to come speak at his company a few times. Amazing energy.
Thank you.
Give people show me so much love and so much respect. You're doing an amazing job. Let's get into it. So first thing first, what got you to get what got you to get into entrepreneurship?
For me, it's kind of always been on me. I excelled in sales at a young age. I was in the auto industry from the time I was 17, selling cars, then financing, and eventually owning my first used car lot, my early 20s. But I'm just a A-type dominant human, and I understand that. I've known that my whole life, so I've always had kind of flack working for others if I thought I could do it better. So
Yeah,
I've been shooting my shot first.
Jim, you're a good student.
Was I a good student?
Yeah.
No, terrible.
How about you, Wow?
Yeah, I was a good student.
You were a good student.
Good students, yeah.
That's interesting. I try to find this common element with high level entrepreneurs, high performers, and she never goes to someone's like this, someone like that.
I mean, I was a very great student when I applied myself. I
Yeah.
just didn't.
You never applied.
That's what it was. So I was like, I would screw off all school year, then finals would come, and I'd just ace all my tests, and I'd be like, I'm out of here.
Were you a ladies' man?
I was.
I can tell. I can tell. Well, tell me about yourself. Man. What got you in entrepreneurship, man?
Well, it's not that what got me into it in a way. It's how I landed on it. Growing up, my dad was a taxi driver, so he always was in control of his time. Right. My mom was a teacher; she had to go to work. Then my dad, once he got into the States, he started buying real estate. Just by observing and seeing what my dad did, he's in control of his time. Although he worked a lot more than someone that's working a 9 to 5.
Sure.
Right? That's not what really got me into entrepreneurship, because my mom said, go to college, get a job. One bird in your hand is better than two on a tree.
Sure.
That's the mentality that I grew up with, and I kind of regret listening to it for a long time, because I was like, you know what, let me get a job. I went to college. I saw all my friends that have their real estate license make money while I'm just going to school, So then I decided to just pursue real estate and do it full time. Obviously, there's a lot that happened in between. We went over that in the last podcast, but seeing that if you invest in yourself and that you work on yourself and you're able to be in control of yourself and be able to manage yourself properly, you can succeed as an entrepreneur. But if you're someone that can't really manage your time or yourself and you need someone to tell you what to do, you're going to fail.
It's very important.
So I realized I'm capable of, maintaining good habits and just doing things on my own and having a good routine and being dedicated and motivated. And I said, you know what, I'm going to continue in real estate. I'm going to invest in myself. I'm going to invest in marketing. And slowly and surely, that's what really got me into it. I didn't have anyone to look up to and say, I want to be like him. I kind of said, you know what, let me just try out real estate. And my mentors in real estate, they weren't really that good. They were just very, very complacent. They didn't want to invest in marketing. They weren't. So I sat in an office. I'm like, what am I really doing here?
I'm not growing.
So I just decided, you know what, I got to start. I got Tony Robbins books. I started, going to
self-help,
self-development books.
Huge.
Man. I just kept listening to CDs and reading books, and slowly and surely I got into entrepreneurship.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Miguel, you're a big self-developing guy, and we'll get that back in a second. What got you into entrepreneurship, and from there get into how self-development helped you?
Yeah. So when I was a kid, even in high school, I remember I created a business of like selling candies to my friends and like people in high school. So since I was very little, I just had that mindset. And then my dad was a business owner, my mom was a lawyer. So I got both of the aspects of what a business owner looks like and what a corporate world looks like. And then I moved to the United States and I started reading, and one of the books that I read is called Rich Dad Poor Dad. And
classic.
It's a classic, and I understood that I wanted to get paid for my value and not my time.
Oh wow.
That was a big concept. And
you got that concept exactly. What that processing of information. I'm right now. I'm a big follower of Patrick Bet-David.
yeah.
I'm doing the audiobook right now on the way here. It's the next 5 moves, and I'll come back to you one second. He talked about processing information. As an entrepreneur, processing and making decision on that is so crucial. You said you processed that information. What age were you?
Well, when I was selling in my high school, I was probably like 13. Wow. And then when I read the book, I was probably 17.
At 17, you're able to process this whole thing of bettering yourself.
Yeah, well, I moved to the United States pretty much by myself, right? So I was born and raised in Colombia, and then I moved to Arkansas. Like, out of all places, I moved to Arkansas. It was a big culture shock.
Colombian kid in Arkansas. Imagine that.
In December, so like
wow.
Time, yeah. So I had to just grow up quick and
no choice.
Yeah, no choice. But it was a blessing, I wanted to do it. Like it's always been a dream for me to come to the United States and just completely out of my comfort zone, and got really close to God. So spiritual alignment has been huge in my path, and then started reading and wanted to get better. And I mean, there were so many people that read, but I really believe that the concept of learning is the speed of implementation, right? So learning is same condition and different behavior. So I started reading, and I just applied what I read, and I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and it's like, no, I don't want to be an employee. Like, I don't want to get paid just for my time, but for my value.
At a young age. I mean, how old are you now, right now?
25.
Wow, dude. I mean, at 17, 18, I moved to Miami Beach, Florida, partying. I mean, I was doing some bad stuff. But, that's the difference, right? Looking back from me, like, I wish if I can go back to my old self at 20 and say, hey, do not waste your 20s. Jim, you partied a lot in your time?
I did. Yeah, I mean, I actually have an opposite perspective on it.
Share it.
I think that the time, like I had a similar time, let's just say, not taking advantage of working at your best potential or in kind of messing up, I think those are valuable lessons, especially in like the entrepreneurial journey, because when you start early, follow the process, you make it, you never really know failure. So little losses, but I mean failure. I mean that feeling of like, what am I going to do? The world's caving down, because I think that's what gives you the grit that you need to build businesses for decades, to be able to lead people. It's more than just words. It's more than just podcasts. It's more than just,
books,
informational books. You got to go through the suck, what I refer to it as. You got to be there, because when you come out the other side a different person. I've been on my journey, the entrepreneurial journey, for 2 decades now.
How old are you?
39.
Okay, 39 years old, and you got 17, 18, 19, got sales.
Yeah.
Right?
But I was sales and, started my own first businesses. And
21, 22? Right. I think all of us got, for me, entrepreneurship by getting to sales, right? I think that's a gateway. Going back to you, Jim, what you said is super crucial, and the mistakes we make, how many times we fall on our faces, right? So you want to share a story early on that was one lesson that you hit the wall, and that was
So I was in the military for years too. So that taught me some very valuable lessons, obviously. But I think that confidence, that bravado you have, like when you're young and you're new and you think like the world can't stop you, you can do whatever you want. I think that the gut check that you get when you find out that that's not the case.
Yeah.
That you actually have to put in the work, and you have to, people don't believe in what you say. It's about what you do, right? Because everybody, especially in the day and age we live in, we live in it's trendy. It's cool to be an entrepreneur now.
everyone. Sexy.
Best
word.
Right? Sex sells. I know that in my business, so that's a focal point. But, there's so much more to it. We could talk for 7 hours about this. But a mistake specifically that I made was, maybe even with my current situation, my relationship, I've been with my wife for over a decade, but taking advantage of that, letting business come in between my family, almost losing that, which I have done at one point in my relationship, was an eye-opening experience, because family is the foundation of everything that I do. I am on a personal growth, fitness, mindset, everything journey. I have been for several years, but not taking advantage of the things that like your foundation.
Sure.
You can't lose sight of the foundation, which I have done, and I learned a hard mistake from that. A hard lesson from that mistake that I made, and I think staying grounded now is what the difference in my exponential growth compared to that flat line that I was at for years. Yeah, money's cool, make money. Money doesn't give you like actual fulfillment. It's the things that come with that.
Wow.
Being able to support your family, to raise children, to pay bills, to take that level of stress off of them. So,
You religious, Drew?
I am. Yeah, I'm religious. I'm a Christian. I believe in the foundation of it, but I don't believe in the obligation. The obligation to go to church. I think church is anywhere that
wherever you are,
wherever you create it. So
any connection to you and the higher powers, wherever you do it and how you do it.
Understanding, and
I agree.
Your path being set, your story already being written. It's an understanding, and then taking that and putting that on. So I have a crew of 14 to 16 people in my main business, and leadership and motivation, all the things that I do with them, that's my church. So that's where I take the fundamentals and I put them in.
That's amazing, man. Thank you for sharing that. Wow, what's up, man? I was like, what about you, man? Like your connection, do you believe in God? Are you religious? And how do you play that into your life and your business?
I do believe in God. I'm a Christian, mostly spiritual than religious. Exactly like he said, I don't believe in the obligation, but I do live out what the Bible says. I try to. I feel like the way that my parents raised me has a lot to do with their Christian belief. And that's what makes me who I am as a person. That's what attracts people to me and my personality. It provide, I believe religion, all sorts of religions, they provide a fundamental foundation for people. I feel like if you have nothing to look up to, or like if you don't believe that, what's the best way to say it?
I'm thinking
You're
it's
taught right from wrong in
Yeah.
a way, right? There's
Yeah.
there's a right and there's a wrong.
the
There's
code
a
of ethics.
code of ethics, right?
Moral
It's like
standards,
standards,
it's like a
of course.
business code of ethics, but it's a
Right.
spiritual code of ethics.
It's the same.
Yeah,
Same.
yeah.
Right? If you think about it, like,
He's
you know,
right.
the code of ethics and the way you are to live, the way you are to treat your fellow man,
Yeah.
the way you are to just, conduct yourself from the Bible to the Quran to
The Torah.
The Torah, yeah, as
Torah.
well, yeah.
It's all the same. Be good to your brother. Treat people how you want to be treated. Watch your tongue. It's the same thing in leadership and entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
You just, different ways of wording it, different ways of saying it, but I believe the fundamentals are all the same.
I agree with you.
Yeah, yeah.
I agree with you. And I've been very blessed. I'm a Muslim, but I've been very blessed having Christian friends and Jewish friends. I'm from Brooklyn, New York, so I have great.
That's
great,
its own religion.
Exactly. And even whatever's happening in the Middle East is one thing, but like I know some very amazing Jewish individuals, beautiful hearts, and that. So putting that inside, and you talk to people, and we have a bunch of talks. You and I have talks about God. It's the same fundamentals.
Yeah.
Little tweak here and there, of course, the story changes and stuff, but the overall mission and vision, these three, the main religions. Miguel, how about you, man? Like, I know you talk about God quite a bit. You're single, right?
Yep.
You're a family man. Your
Yep.
mom, your family, that's big into. I spoke at your company a few times. You have this whole prayer thing you guys do. Or they do this rah-rah thing in the end. I love it. How do you incorporate religion, God, faith into your business?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I agree with you guys. I mean, I'm Christian as well. And I believe it's not about religion, but about relationship, right? So the relationship that you have with your higher being, and for everyone, their higher being is different, right? But for me, in my perspective, it's just crazy what God has done in my life. Like, I wouldn't be able to do everything that I have done just by myself. I don't believe it's me. I believe it's God through me. And I think that it starts just with anything in leadership, right? So how you incorporate a concept that has changed your life is just by being an example, right? So being an example of just excellence, spiritual alignment, and also talking to people about it. I believe sometimes in the corporate world, most of the time, especially in sales, there's a lot of times that they see people as a number, right? So, and what we focus on is how can I help my guys not only make money, but win in life, right? And winning in life is in multiple areas of life. And one of them is spiritually. So we talk about the relationship that they have with their higher being, and we don't force anyone to do anything. But I start seeing once they get a spiritual alignment and they start doing things for something that is higher than themselves.
Powerful.
And everything changes, because I believe there's profit-driven businesses and purpose-driven businesses. If it's profit-driven, it's fine, but there's X amount of money that at some point you will make that will make you stop. But if it's purpose, there's always more people you can help. So I just believe it's deeper, and that's fully connected with my spiritual beliefs.
Yeah. What you said is amazing, man. And I was at the Vault convention. Patrick does every year he does an event in Fort Lauderdale, Palm Beach. I was there recently. He had The Rock was there speaking, and they both were talking about it. That profit is we all start business for profit, but eventually the money comes, like you said. It's just something greater than just a profit, right? So I opened a business about 10 months ago. He was there for the grand opening. Med Spa, and we had a staff come in and out, and our current team is doing amazing. I'm really happy with them. But I feel like my wife, my business partner, and I are changing their lives by mentoring them, teaching them stuff, and I think that for me it's more valuable than the profit. Yes, money's good, and the money we want it, right? But the fact of the matter is, if I can change their life or the trajectory of their life, there's a greater reward there.
Yeah.
You talk about leadership. I saw your social media. Man, you guys are doing some amazing stuff. God bless you for doing that. You talked to how that's your ministry, that's your church. Talk about that. Like, how do you lead? There's different type of leaders. Some are passive. Some are, I'm in with you in the trenches. Some are like, you know what? Here's the plan, some training, but you go execute. What's your style? I'm the same question to everyone else.
I'm definitely a aggressive, in the trenches with my crew kind of guy, but I strongly believe in leading by example. So we put so much more than just the work that we do into being a member of my team. It has to do with mindset, has to do with fitness, has to do with the way you conduct yourself. We have to be the best versions of ourselves at all times. So by me putting these, policies in place that you have to work on yourself. You have to drink water. You have to go to the gym. Like that's literally a requirement to work at my shop, because
Amazing.
people operate at a different capacity because you putting that consistency in their life.
Yep.
And whether it's faith or whether it's anything, it's consistency. So I wake up, same thing in my house with my kids. My son wakes up in the morning before he goes to high school. He does his chores. He walks the dogs. He eats his breakfast. He drinks a glass of water. My wife wakes up at the same time. So it's just the way we operate. Of course, I was in the military, so I have a military-like understanding. But with my crew, I'm there to... Originally, when I started the business, I was working in the business with them. And then I started to promote from within, but I was always there. Like, I was always in there with them. I just recently have been able to, step out of the business, work on it. I have the right leadership in place that can therefore train and work and oversee my guys, but I'm still there. My office is still in-house. I'm still there when they need help, but I just put the different, I put different ways of doing it in place. So the guys that started off detailing cars are now the managers of my shop. You don't walk into my shop, there is no manager application.
Ad from management. I cannot come apply for that. Doesn't happen.
And then I'm right or wrong. It's just it's the way we
Culture
do
you
things. We call our, my company's the Wolves Den. It's pretty self-explanatory. We take no shit around there. So, but the foundation of, back to the faith stuff, the way you treat people. We want every client to have a memorable experience. We want it to be a cut above everything else. So, client relations and the customer experience is the number one priority. The work that we do, obviously, nothing can ever be perfect in business. Especially in the business that I'm in, with taking apart, putting together Lamborghinis, Ferraris, Paganis. All the vehicles are the same, but there are things that can go wrong, and it does happen. But people's reaction to the way things happen goes different based off the way that they've been treated. So let's just say worst case scenario, which doesn't happen, but we break a mirror on a client's Ferrari. And they're coming to a brand new shop. They had a subpar experience with us. They came in, we were dismissive. Yep, give us your car, see you later. You break a mirror on the guy's car, he's like, oh, I knew this was going to happen. He already had a preconceived notion about business and the way it was going to go or whatever. But if the client walks in and you spend 30 minutes talking to them, you give them a tour of the shop, you give them that feeling of family, like we do. Where it's a family at my business. People tend to react differently when they feel like they're part of something or they're invested in it, not just financially, emotionally. They want to be part of something. So that's what comes with culture, which is one of the other topics we talked about.
Yeah, I want to talk about that.
But when you create the right culture, people are happy. They're happy to be there. And it builds your value as a business because they don't want you to just work on their car. They want to be part of the Wolves, or however you say it, whatever businesses are different.
I love that. I have a mentor, Mark Efron, good friend of mine, big brother, mentor to me, business coach. He owns a bunch of rehab for drug addiction across the U.S., him and his partner in bed. And he taught me one thing early on. He goes, one mission, one vision, one team, top to bottom. And it's very, very similar. And that stuck with me. And I apply that to my business right now in Newer Med Spa with my girls. And same thing every morning. Say, hey guys, did no one above each other? One mission, one vision. We're all aligned.
Correct.
You know what I
Like
mean?
when we do push-ups. You see the videos that I do?
I love it, dude.
We do push-ups as a family. It doesn't matter. I'm there working out.
Everyone's there.
I believe that fitness. I can go all the way into that, but I'm not going to. When your blood's flowing, you're moving. Especially when you're a man, when you got a pump on, you feel better. You operate better. Your brain works better. So we do it all the time. Every couple days a week, we'll get down and we'll all do 50 clip together, and just it's camaraderie. It's everything.
I'm seeing that, man, more and more and more and more now than ever before. To exercise and fitness correlates to the success an individual has.
Yeah.
Andy Elliott, he was on my podcast recently. Interesting guy. I met him at the Vault again. His whole thing, Andy Elliott. I
don't know.
You probably saw him. You have to see him. You have to see him. It's all
You've
over
seen
social
the
media.
videos on social media.
You've seen him. He's bald.
Okay.
White guy, lean up, and very high energy sales guy. He's up there now. He's a top leader. And he's very big into fitness, just like Jim. He talks about it, and that's like the pinnacle of his success. And everyone works out together, and the kids and everything. Well, your company culture, your brokerage. We talked briefly last time. Talk about that. Like, how do you operate? What type of leader do you are? What's the culture you promote?
Great. I wish I want to start by saying I wish I had policies like yours, man, where I could tell people they have to work out and
Yes.
go to the gym. Most of my
Yes.
agents are like, single moms, trying to make a living, and they don't have to come to the office.
Different business.
Yeah.
the thing
Completely
about-
different business,
Man, I look
yeah.
at your culture, and I would love to have something like that, but people don't like to come to the office in real estate because our hours, they just depend on our client's time, right? So like if I want to have an 11 o'clock meeting, right, I can't have half my staff show up because they're showing houses, right? So now I have to work with everyone's schedule,
Yes.
and I'm not in control of that, right? Only thing I'm in control is measuring metrics, seeing the calls that are coming in, the dials that are being made, the follow-ups, right? That's what I can measure in my business. And I treat everybody equally. We don't have any managers or things like that in our, everyone's pretty much on the same level. They're all agents, right?
1099
They're all
independent
1099s.
contractors.
I can't make them show up to
No.
work, right? They're 1099s, right? I think in your cases, are they W-2s or 1099s? W-2s, yeah. So in our situation, you're in the same business. You lead a team as well, so it's a bit different. I'm more of a passive leader. I would tell people what people will call me if they need any help with anything. Right, I'm always there, I'm always available. By chat, by phone calls. I have an admin as well. It's always available. I have a team that assists my team if they ever need any help. So as far as lending a hand and being supportive, we're always there. And as far as like getting people together, once in a while, yes, we can. We do it virtually now because that's possible. Best time to do it is after hours, right? Because during work, we're working. And man, when you said you make people work out, I would love to do that because I believe in when you challenge, when you go to the gym, you're challenging your muscle, right? You're challenging it every time. When you do that, you're growing, right? It's the same thing in life.
Same
Same
concept.
Yeah, like a flower, flower, like if you don't feed a flower water, if you don't feed a tree water, it's gonna die, right?
100%.
Same thing with us. Like if you don't really exercise your body, you don't feed it the right thing. He talks about water. It's very important. Most people don't even drink water, man.
Yeah.
You drink maybe like soda all
So
day.
all day. Or juices.
Vitamin water is not even
Well,
vitamin water.
COVID meant, got everybody in the habit of like, people were in, I never was, but, people were in the house. They don't got to go to work. They don't, they do this. I mean, the world as a whole got fatter, got lazier. It gave too much opportunity.
Yeah.
We say like we don't know how it was possible, but you got to remember, people with our mindset, we are such a small percentage of the world.
Yep.
And it just got people in the habits of not having to get out of bed, not having to get dressed, not having to do this. So, we are going to have issues. The people are going to have issues after a year of not leaving their house.
Yeah.
Or not doing this. It's
And kids
been
too.
a tough push.
I agree
even
with you.
employment, from right after COVID, like you can just collect unemployment. Well, I go to work. I didn't have that problem because if you don't want to go to work and you want to collect a check,
Go for it. That's
you
you.
don't belong in my shop.
Yeah,
anyways.
you're not-
you don't have the right.
You're not
mindset
lying.
for it,
You're not a
so-
wolf.
You're not a
Yeah,
wolf.
I mean, it's exactly
You're a
right.
puppy.
It sounds like
Go do the puppy.
it's gimmicky, and that's what Wolves Den did start.
I
in
love
that
that.
same mindset. 'Cause
I
one of the
love
other
it.
businesses
Wolves
that I
Den.
have
I
is,
love the Wolves Den.
barbershop. So we
Yeah.
stayed open during COVID. I told the barbers, I said, I'll pay the fines that they're talking about. Just stay open.
You pay fines?
No, I never got fined. No one ever got fined
Yeah,
for
there's-
still staying open. But they threw some blank threats. This is what
Same thing
We
with
can get into
Airbnbs.
like government control and all that, but that's another
Another topic, another podcast.
But they said, you're going to get fined if you stayed open. So I opened 3 businesses instead. I said barbershop. Why? What do entrepreneurs still need to take care of themselves?
I
What
love
are the
it.
entrepreneurs still doing? They're working. Who needed to still get their haircuts? Entrepreneurs. What kind
Yep.
of cars do they drive? Luxury Highline cars. My new business right after that was the Wolves Den. So now we're there. We're washing your car. This is how it started. We're washing your car and getting your haircut. My client base that still wanted to go
You
out.
opened Wolves Den after COVID?
I opened Wolves Den in the middle of COVID.
God, wow.
I opened
Wow.
Wolves Den and the barbershop in the middle of COVID because I still needed to get my
Cojones,
haircut.
bro.
I was an entrepreneur. I was like, well, why not open a barbershop? So I opened a barbershop. And the barbershop was immediately busy, doing record numbers. And I was like, what else? Because, the entrepreneurial mindset,
Yep.
You want to build more value within the same existing footprint. I said, what else can we do on this property that I just bought for these clients that still want to get their haircuts because we're busy all day? I'm like, oh, what if we wash their cars too? That idea started as something as simple as that and has turned into 4 to 5 years later quite a big business.
God bless you, man. That's
You
insane.
gotta just send it sometimes. You
Yeah.
know?
And also identify an opportunity, because like there's so many people that complain because things happen to them, but if you realize that things don't happen to you but for you, and you realize that there's opportunity in everything, then it's huge. And I wanted to comment on something that you guys were saying, and is I think everyone agrees that I'm not in the solar business, you're not in the car business, you're not in the real estate business. We all are in the people business,
100%.
right? So, and then when it comes to people, the reason why fitness is so important in my perspective is Tony Robbins says all the time that emotions come from motion. So if you don't move, like the fastest way to change your emotions is moving,
100%.
literally. And it's curious because you have W-2s, you have 1099s. I also have 1099s, but we have like a W-2 culture. So like I don't force them, but it's like, dude, if you don't do this, it's like you don't. It goes back to values, right? So one of the values of our company is growth. And if you're not consistently growing, then you're going against the core values of the company, and you don't belong here.
Love it.
Right? Like and as a leader, it's also my responsibility to. I can never ask anyone to do something that I'm not willing to do. So it also and there's a concept on hiring as well that I learned. And is so many times we try to motivate people, but it's easier to find motivated people and inspire them. So when you find motivated people and you inspire them because you are an example, and that inspires me to like, I have to take care of myself. Like I have to go to the gym. I have to eat healthy. I have to be a good family man, right? I have to be aligned spiritually. Because if not, when I'm doing one-on-ones with my guys and we're talking about their health and I'm fat and I don't work
Your
out.
stomach coming out, and
Yeah,
you're
like-
eating chips, and you have Coca-Cola on your desk.
It doesn't align, right?
Don't
So
align.
I can never ask them to do something that I'm not willing to do, and that is leadership, right? Like that's leading by example, and that also creates culture and loyalty. Like I truly believe when you help people not only understand how to make money, but how to live life, that creates a lot of loyalty, because they go to any other car shop or real estate company or solar company, and most likely they're not going to have the same culture and impact, and some leader that actually and this is the last thing that I'll say. I realize that most people don't have business problems or sales problems. They have personal problems that affect their businesses. So if you fix the basics, right? If you really master the 5 different areas of life, and then you go to business, and there's a concept that all the time people chase, so they do, so they can have, so they can be. Right? That's the usual process that people follow. So they work so they can have money, and they think that's going to make them happy, right? So that's the usual process. But if you switch the order and you start being first, and then you do with that energy, so if you're happy already, if you're energized already, if you're positive already.
Gratitude, gratefulness.
Yeah, like you start being first, and then you do with that energy instead of chasing, you're going to start attracting the success to your life, which is a complete difference. So,
Dude, this guy's like,
Wow.
he's a wizard.
Yeah.
And every
It's
time-
almost too good. I'm like, listening to this stuff they're saying. I'm like, I'm 25 years old. Like, what?
He said it's
Dude,
gone through him.
I
man.
started, it's
like-
gone, man.
Dude,
It's
Jim,
gone.
I'm
I'm
telling
like,
you.
did he rehearse this
I'm
or
telling
something?
you, Jim.
Where's this cliff notes you wrote down or something? Because he's
Jim,
just off the
Dude,
top.
the first time I met this guy, it's a quick story. I told all the time to people. A friend of mine won when I guess he's like, man, I have a guy coming, solar guy's coming to the office. You should meet him. He's very successful. I'm thinking, okay, 50-year-old guy's gonna come, maybe some gray hair, like, and he comes in sitting there. I'm like, so where's this guy you're talking about? So that's him. I'm like, are you kidding me, bro? He's in high school, and he opens his mouth. I'm like, dude, oh god, this guy, he's right. He has some notes somewhere. No, man, God bless you, bro. You're doing good stuff, man. But your team loves you, man. I mean, they adore you. But you shared something with me. I didn't know that story.
Yeah.
Your recent changes. So you want to share that with the team?
Yeah. So that's huge. So, I went through an interesting time in my life and company
Journey.
So kind of at the same time, I ended a relationship, which emotionally was tough for me, and then I tore my ACL playing soccer. So I had to go 2 surgeries. Couldn't go and sell and do anything, right? So I was in bed most day, and then at the same time I found out something within my company, like somebody was just doing unethical stuff, and I fired one, and then with them another 10 left, and then at the same time another team left, and I'm like, dude, all the same time. And so many learning experiences, right? So that's what you were talking about. It's like sometimes you have to get hit on, just a punch in the face so you can actually learn. And it's about perspective, right? So I went to a mastermind with David Meltzer. I don't know if you know who he is, but we started talking about the concept of things don't happen to you, which at that time most people will be like, why me? Like, why is this happening to me? It's like, no,
mentality.
Yeah. It's like, no, this happened for me. Like, there's something that God is teaching me and preparing me so I can be ready for the next level. But then if you take it to the next level, it's not happening for me. It's happening through me. So if it happens through me, is you will always be the most qualified person to help the person that you used to be. So at some point, somebody's going to go through challenges, and through that experience, I'll be able to help them and inspire them. So it's always thinking about not even me, it's thinking about how many people can I help through this experience. And something that I learned about it is I knew that the people that left in my business, I had a gut feeling that I should have let them go a long time before. But I got greedy, right? So I was like, well, no, they're making money and they're selling, and then slap on the face. It's like, dude, they're gonna leave anyways. So biggest learning experience in my perspective was culture and values over profit and everything else, right? So, but I wouldn't have learned that if I didn't gone through it, right?
So accountability. That's the biggest part. The values and the culture that you put in place. Even if those same people were to theoretically stay with you, if there's no accountability on their part, or there's no you checking for accountability, people, humans are takers. We're born takers. These things that we've learned, we have adapted over time. And if there's a situation for someone to take advantage of, there's a much larger percentage that an unskilled or an untrained or an dialed in mind is going to take that situation. So accountability is a really big part of that.
And not only for them, but for me, right? So there's a lot of time that like people leave your business and it's like, oh, it's all them. Like, no, like people don't leave companies, they leave leaders. So it's like, what do I have to learn as a leader? So the next time that I have the opportunity, like if they left, there's something that I could have done better, right? If I just blame them, I literally give them all the control that I have over my life. But if I take full ownership, it's like, okay, here's what I learned, here's what I'm going to do better next time. And what I was telling you, dude, like in 3 or 4 months, there's just doors started opening, and I started attracting people that I could never even imagine that will come work with me. And now we're producing more with less people with a better culture. But that had to happen because I didn't have the courage to let the people go before. So they had to leave by themselves.
Won't happen again, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, question for you, buddy. Miguel, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, of course.
I know you're single. Good-looking guy.
Single. I have a girl.
Well, not married.
Oh, yeah.
Not married.
I was like, single.
She sees this, she's gonna.
Your girl and my girl close.
Andrea,
I don't
just
stand for
punched me
that.
through the screen.
Andrea is a very dear friend of my wife, Simon, my good friend of mine.
Unmarried is the word.
Okay, unmarried.
I mean, on
Partner.
a job application, I'm considered single. So
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah,
that's what
like,
I
are
meant.
You single
That's
or
what I
married? I'm
meant.
like, I'm single.
That's what I meant. Man, get me in trouble. Andrea, we love you. If you're watching this,
It's just a job application
yes,
question. That's all.
I wasn't here.
Good-looking guy, beautiful house, the lifestyle. Can that, before Andrea, your success is not new. You've been running the show for a while. How did that work in your opinion, being, unmarried? Does it get distracting sometime? You're active in restaurants, the Avas. I see you, man. I love Ava, by the way. We should go out. We should do dinner soon. But, does that get distracting in your business, your focus, and your flips, your Airbnb, the real estate company?
That's a very good question because I've been questioning that myself lately. Staying up late, it does impact your business. I mean, I'm sorry, it impacts me personally, but not my business. My business is on auto run right now. All my agents, they're getting fed leads. I have admins monitoring everything. You get to a point where, like, if Donald Trump is touring around the U.S. and he's doing, what is it, rallies or
Rallies,
whatever,
yeah.
right? Is his hotel gonna suffer? Probably not. He's doing it's nothing's gonna change. So my business is on auto run, right? I would say probably the same for most of you guys. Have to get in once in a while, just communicate with your team, look at the metrics, KPIs. But I looked at life in a different way once I met this guy who told me he pays to be in social circles and then he gets paid from it. I'm like, okay, how does that work? Well, he goes out and he networks for a living, and then from those relationships that he builds, he sells $1 million houses. Like, interesting. So I paid for the membership for Ava. I'm paying for other memberships as well. I'm meeting other entrepreneurs, other millionaires, retired people with money. Right? They're gonna want to buy a house, sell a house. Maybe they want to buy a watch, sell a car, rent a car.
Do something.
And I connect people.
Yeah.
That's what I do. So I connect people. If I can't help them, he can help them with solar. He can help them with a car. So I just so just exposing myself to these different crowds of people gives me more of an opportunity to sell houses. That's how I saw it, because I don't have to sit on the phones and prospect, cold call people. Right? I mean, I can go out and network and just be who I am and meet people. And so. Anyways, to take it back, drinking is, it gets a hold of you, right? So I cut down my drinking a lot. So I go out and drink maybe 1 or 2 drinks, and I even want to cut that completely and just do water. But I am thinking about just not going out as often. I mean, I tried it for a year, and I feel like I would rather just spend more time at home and in the gym, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
still want to go out once in a while
Once
just
in a
to
while.
show face and kind of network. But you see, once you do it, you get invited every night to go somewhere. And it's just overwhelming.
I'm gonna come back to the same question to you guys, but another question for you.
My girl loves going out too, so it's
That-
hard to say no.
yes,
It's like she wants
yes,
to go have a drink. I'm like,
yes.
1 drink becomes 3, 3 becomes 4. It's like
Exactly. But we need better and more restaurant in Orlando. I'm from Miami. Miami has
yeah.
Poppy Steak, David Grubman. Orlando has Ava, the H, and there's a few other, but they need more options. They need more options.
Yeah.
By the way, they say Orlando's like 5 to 10 years behind Miami. So a lot of good stuff is going to come.
Yeah.
I think a lot of growth, it's already happening. Orlando is going to be on the map. Coming back, networking. I take pride in being a networker. I was having dinner last night with some friends. They're like, man, KB, you would like to talk to people and network at the podcast. And you have
You're great at that.
Huh? Thank
You're
you.
great at that.
Appreciate that. Same thing like you. I like to connect. I saw his profile. We reached out. By the way, thank you for being so nice. The most people in the beginning like F off. A gentleman, a true gentleman, and it speaks a lot about your character. But I like to connect with people, get their stories, and same thing like you, connect. You hire in a car, this is my guy. Solar, this is my guy. Networking has done a lot for you. Miguel, how about for you?
Yeah, same. It's not what you know, it's who you know, right? So I believe that there is something that's called people capital, and I think that's the biggest capital that you
People
can have.
capital. Explain
Never
that.
heard of it.
No, I'm
Yeah, well, people capital is exactly that, right? Relationships. Like there's so many times that you can have capital, money, but there's places and there's connections that money can buy, like literally. So yeah, just people capital and just connecting with the right people and adding value and not only thinking what can I get from you, but how can I add value to your life, and I think that's huge.
That's amazing.
In business, yeah. In business and in life in general.
I agree with you. And sometimes people do just for business, but I do in general for life.
Yeah.
He's a good friend of mine. You're a good friend of mine. I plan to have dinner with you and meet your wife, introduce my wife to you. Like I like to not just do this business thing. I like to bring it a bigger picture purpose.
Yeah. And what's funny is I love a saying that you do business with people you want to do life with.
Exactly. I love that. How about you, man? Are you a big networker? I mean, your world, I'm sure. But are you?
My business is networking. So my Instagram profile says my title is networking connoisseur. It's just I connect the dots, and sometimes it's between people, sometimes it's just being the guy that people can call, even if it's out of your scope of work, but the right people that know the right people. Same way me and you met through Sanjay and through this and through that. It's networking is one of the most important things you can do, because in business you can buy leads, you can do all these ads and internet presence and all this stuff, but there's no value that you can put on referrals. Referrals are worth 10 times what it's worth monetarily with money, because one referral can lead you into so much business in the future. It's the same thing I tell one of my employees. He's struggling with something. And I'm like, you understand, all of your problems in this world could simply change with one conversation that you don't know may have happened. It could happen right now. It could be a phone call. Have you ever had something like that happen where you're like, oh my God, what's going to happen? This is not going to work out. What am I going to do? And your phone rings. You pick it up and it's like, hey, I got an idea, or a business venture or something. It's one conversation. So how serious can something be when it's that?
That's amazing.
Your network is another way to say what you just said. People capital, like it's what I post on the bottom of my pictures all the time.
That's amazing.
Network equals network.
So what you said right now is really my next topic, the law of attraction. If we talked about it, we talked about it. I'm going to ask your views about it. Law of attraction, for those who don't know, it's a philosophy. It's a new way of thinking. What you think about, what you pray about, what you visualize about, and what you put action to, the universe or God or whatever you believe in will bring it to you halfway or to you. We have to put some work in. Like he said, I'll give you an example. Today I had to have a guy come to do behind the scenes. Couldn't come. I meet your buddy outside. I'm like, buddy, do me a favor. I'll take care of you on the side. Send me the footage. It worked out.
Well,
Right? My guy canceled me last night. I'm like, dude, come on. He goes, no, I can't make it. My bad, kid. I can't do it. God delivered, right? Do you believe in law of attraction?
I do. I'm much more aggressive to it. So my understanding and the way that I portray it is like when you set a goal or when you have something that you need to achieve, some say, well, it's going to happen. It's part of the process. I remove failure from the equation.
Love it,
It's
man.
not even an option. So when I set my mind to do something, this business was different. So I've owned many businesses, to be honest, and I failed a lot. I think those failures were important. Pre-COVID, mid-COVID, I closed my business. Before I opened Wolf's Den, I closed my multi-million-dollar business, construction, remodeling hotels and nightclubs. COVID happened. No one was doing business anymore. All my investors said, oh, there's no money. I said, I still got $300,000 in material and bills that I've put out onto these projects. There's no money, the government, blah, 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 blah. Sold everything I owned. I had a little bit of money. What did I do? I just started a new business. That's the only option I had. My business probably saved me from depression. That's the foundation of things. And I was like, you know what? This is the one. I'm going to do what I want to do, which is the auto industry, because it's what I love. I love cars. I love supercars. I love everything about it. I said, I'm going to do it, and there's no way I'm failing. I'm making it. I looked at my wife, and we just bought a multi-million-dollar house, and I got 3 kids, and, what's the options? So I said, this is the one. This is what's going to make it. And we built it from a $10,000 a month business to a $250,000 a month business within the last 4 years. But failure was never an option. So when things happen, I just understood this needs to happen.
that's awesome.
It's part of the process.
I got chills, man. I'm like, I got chills.
Woman, my
What a
wife,
story.
She's like, well, what's now? What are we going to do? How are we going to get past this? And I'm like, I want to hear that. I got it. It's for a reason. Something's happening. I literally removed failure from my life. It was not possible. So when you successfully do that, everything that happens, the only thing you think about is why? What's next? Like there's something behind all of this that's working, and every time after time, it's like feel like the world's crumbling down, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, what are we gonna do?" I'm like, sleep on it. Wake up the next morning, and I'm like,
You got to answer.
got it.
Well, by the way, Jim, that's profound, dude. You ever doing keynotes? You never got
not-
approached?
I have. I mean, I'm different.
I
So
could-
you
yeah.
follow me a little longer, So I'm
Yeah.
a little unruly. So
Wow.
I don't do masterminds. I don't do anything. Some of these things that you guys have done, Patrick, Bet, David. I know a lot of people that do. I'm just I'm gonna learn myself kind of person.
By yourself?
Follow one person, Andy Frisella. You know who that is?
Goat.
That's great.
The GOAT.
Yeah.
I
OG.
am, from the depths of my soul, I am Andy Frisella's everything. I've done the MFCEO project and everything else, and I kind of have that same mentality, like kick ass, take no bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, if I get upset, do some push-ups, drink some water, rub some
fucking
fucking
A.
dirt on it, and move the fuck on.
Fucking
It's
A,
that
dude.
same mentality. So I don't always fit certain things, and I think there's been a lot of situations where I wasn't ready for the things, even though the opportunities have come in front of me to do things, but I feel like you're not ready to do that until you're like personally like
Ready inside.
1,000%. So I still don't look at myself as like there. So when that day comes, I may consider it, but until then, I'm just gonna keep learning.
Well, I'm declaring it here on my podcast. I'm gonna do a mastermind Orlando. I'm gonna have you on it. I'm gonna come after you. I'm like, dude, whatever you need, come on stage. But by the way, that's a vision I have. But I have a lot of amazing guests. Everyone here, and I'm like, my wife's like, dude, why don't you like do your own mastermind? You have all these amazing guests on your podcast. And so I did this little vision board of it. So you're on it. Like, dude, it's huge. We'll see. We're gonna make it happen, inshallah. How about you, my friend? Law of attraction. How does that work for you?
I read the book. I watched the movie. I believed in it so much. You know, I grew up with humble beginnings. Didn't have much. My dad was a taxi driver. He was scraping up to buy his first house, second house, third house. That's about the same time when I heard about the law of attraction, and it's actually references the Bible a lot.
It does.
You know, so it kind of I resonated with that. So then I said, all right, well, always had a limit of like $5,000 a month. I don't know how old I was, maybe 18, 22, something like 5,000. It's always been like the cap I've ever hit. I'm like, I want to see 10,000. Started seeing it. I said, why am I limiting myself to 15,000 a month or 20,000 a month? You know, and slowly and surely, like every number I hit, I said, I want to make 100,000 a month. That number, I'm like, damn, what's next, right? So it maybe has something to do with the law of attraction, but also you have to act on it, right? It's one thing dreaming, visualizing. You also have to put in action, right? You have to put yourself in the right circles, right people. You have to bet on yourself. You have to invest in yourself, in your marketing, in your team. So it took a lot of that, but it all starts with visualizing, right? You know, I daydream a lot, right? Sometimes like we're hanging out with my friends, they're talking about something like, man, I don't fit in this conversation. I'm like thinking about what am I? Right, this is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to make some more money. So it's not just about money. It's about like achieving more things or doing more things with your time. So I've always believed that, you know, like time is very valuable and I have to invest my time wisely. So sometimes I doubt what I'm doing. Like, let's say live in the moment, right? So I try to live in the moment as much as I can, but also I try to, sometimes I'm like, man, am I in the right place at the right time? Is this what I should be doing, right?
See, that's a great place to be, where you understand that.
Yeah, man.
And like where you put your energy and the things that you allow, because your brain is you only have so much capacity for taking things in. So like if you don't need something, why even allow it in? You know,
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You start to realize that and you get to a different place. I think that's important for the journey.
Yeah, man. If someone is talking to me about something, it's just negative, and it's just not. I can't even help them with it, and it's not about me helping them with it. It's just talking negative stuff. I'm like, I zone out to be respectful, or sometimes if I'm very comfortable with that person, you know, I get back in. I'm like, hey man, you know, stop it, or let's just change the conversation. Yeah, like this is not feeding us.
What are you doing, man?
Yeah, so like, I mean, you know, law of attraction is great, but also it can go the other way too. Like, you know, you're attracting negative energy in your life by having negative people around you, complainers, just you know, there's
Victim mentality.
Yeah, man. Oh, that's the thing, man. Oh my God, I've worked with so many victim mentality people. Now I know how to spot them. I know how to spot them so good, man. So good. So you know, and we're in a people business, right? So you get to spot this stuff real fast. You know, you get to start sensing people's personality when you start talking to them. I don't judge people at all in the beginning, and mostly, but that's one thing people say I suck at, is because like, hey, you didn't see this happening. I'm like, man, I don't judge people. I let them do something, and then I judge that. But everyone comes to me.
Should.
Yeah, everyone comes to me. I don't judge you by your looks. I don't judge you by your income. I don't judge you by your clothes, your watch, your car. I judge you by just your character.
Your actions, your character, your values.
Yeah. And then one thing my uncle told me years ago, it takes time for the clouds to clear. Which means it may take 6 months or 8 months to know people's true characters, right? You have to put them through tests, through trials, not intentional tests and trials, but through communication, how they behave, how they do things. But taking it back to the law of attraction, I try to attract and keep the right people around me, because that's very important. Having the wrong people around you can take you a whole different level. All different place, and that can affect your wealth, your family, your health,
Your mental health.
mental too, man.
Yeah, wow. The one thing I love about you, man, I think we know each other for a year now. Your energy is amazing. Like me, my wife's time would talk about you and Andrea so many times. Like your energy is so pure, and when you're around me, I feel like at ease. And like it's like there's no motive.
I love you, man.
Seriously, you're so easygoing. Just speak with a person. Sometimes, not a lot of time you meet men.
No, it's his aura. He's right.
You get it, right? It's an
Like
aura.
when I walked into your house the first time, I was like, where the hell am I? He's like, Jim, what's up? I was like,
That's what I'm saying.
Good, yeah.
Dude, he came to my grand opening. He just, this big hug, his smile. And
It's a positive energy.
It's positive energy. You know what I mean? I feel like, and that's not easy to find friends like that, people like that. You know what I mean? Miguel, same with you, man. Always smiling, always a big hug. How you doing? A lot of love. You talked about your law of attraction journey. You want to jump in that a little bit and just chime in?
Yeah, I believe everything that we see is created twice.
Yeah.
And first is created in your mind, and then it becomes physical reality. It's crazy, man, because I visualize the life that I live now. And I believe as well that there's a concept, and it's all about perspective, right? So it's fake it until you make it. And there's people that take that concept in a negative way of trying to show people that they have something that they don't have because of insecurities or something. There's another way of looking at it, and is if you start behaving like the person and taking the action like the person that you want to be, you will at some point attract that reality to your life, right? So if you study like a millionaire, if you talk like a millionaire, if you surround yourself with millionaires, right? Like you just attract that energy to your life. And yeah, I live my life by it, right? I visualize consistently. I believe in affirmations, but just also impacting. I believe the way you change your paradigms in your mind is affirmations combined with emotions, right? So instead of just wanting to do something, you speak and you feel like if you already have it, and then you just are grateful for it, and then subconsciously your mind changes and you start identifying opportunities that you wouldn't identify if you didn't do those exercises. So it's huge. I believe everyone should.
It's called the RAS, the reticular activating system, and part of our brain. If you tell this something, it scans, and if I think that it's a white Tesla experiment, if you haven't heard about it. If I talk to you about a white Tesla, Jim, white Tesla, you're gonna go out there and you see more white Teslas. They've been there, but now your mind is looking for that. Guys, we're gonna start wrapping this up. Amazing. I can do this for another hour and probably do that part 2 again. Going around table here to end this up. One or two valuable lessons you could say, KB. If I can go back to the 20, the 19-year-old, 21-year-old Jim, the Wael, you are 25. Like, yeah, 5 years ago, the Miguel, 6 years ago, say, hey, man, do this.
Yeah.
Or it's okay. You're going to go through pain. Hang on. What would it be?
I'm going to give you the answer you want. So I wouldn't take any of it back.
Nothing.
Every single mistake, I think, made me to the person I am today. I could go off on how deep and dark I have been at times in my life, which you followed me for a while, so you've seen majority of it. But PTSD, the military, addiction, bad mistakes. I think every single mistake I made has made me to the person I am today. So, there's a lot of regret for things that may have happened, but I think each and every step of my life I have learned. And I've understood that it was just part of what had to happen. I grew up, without a father, without, in a broken home, and the situation was different. But that feeling of abandonment when I was a child made me the rock star father I am now, right? So I took the pain for my legacy. So I welcome my own. I let that encompass who I've become as a person. And I don't think I would change any part of my life, to be honest with you. It will help me teach others what not to do and to notice things that have happened. But I think it all happened right now, and I think I wasn't ready to be rich when I was in my 20s because I'd be dead or in jail or, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready until right now. I wasn't ready to have the business blow up. I wasn't ready to, to do what I could do.
That's so funny you say that. Similar. Broken household, no father. Mom got sick,
Boston,
cancer.
New York,
broken,
it's
right?
very similar mentality.
20s, partying, drugs, all that. I think my journey, like you said, the business I have right now, it was meant to be now. 42 years old, gray hair. They can't see the gray hair, but the Botox hides a lot of stuff. But the journey, if I had this 10 years ago, I would have been broke. Sure. It wouldn't have happened. Yeah. So we all mature. We all come to a journey at a different time. You're 25. Compared to me, you're way above. You're ready for that. Wow, for you, anything? Go back to the young Wael.
Yeah, I would say besides buying Bitcoin.
Yeah. And holding on to it. Right?
Yeah. We wouldn't have held on to it. Our time would have just spent it.
Yeah.
But,
of course.
I've always been a saver, but I probably would have saved some. But I had Bitcoins and Ethereums, and I sold them. Even 5 years ago, I sold them.
That's crazy.
I'm not the kind of person who would regret not doing something or regret the past. I don't know how, but a lot of my friends always ask me, do you regret? Do you do, and some of them have regrets, right? And they talk about things that happened years ago still. That doesn't resonate with me. Maybe I'm different, but I don't regret anything. And I don't think I could change. I never think about what should I have done. Maybe it's just the way I was raised. We just, my family just goes day by day. We're very thankful. We're grateful. If something happens, we fix it. We don't. So I've never when this question was in the email, or I brought it up, I was like, man, what would I change about myself? And I started thinking about it. I'm like, man, I hope I have more time to think about it. But there's nothing I think I would change. Like he said, the things that happen in your past is what makes you. And just like him, there was a point in my time where I wasn't ready to be successful. Maybe I wasn't willing to accept it either. Maybe I was running away from it. Now I'm ready for it. So it's just it's different timing for everybody. But again, buying Bitcoin.
Bye, Bitcoin. Love it. Love you, man. Wow, you're amazing. Miguel, my man.
Yeah. So I kept something in my mind about the attraction thing that I wanted to mention before I answer this question. And it's one of the quotes that I live by is, you guys know who Jim Rohn is? So he was
the one who trained Tony Robbins.
Tony Robbins, yeah. And he said that most of the time, your level of success will never exceed your level of personal development, because success is not something that you chase, but it's something that you attract with the person that you become. And it also applies for leadership, right? So there's something that's called the law of the magnet, right? So, and it says that you don't attract what you want, you attract who you are. So if you want to attract different people, you have to become a different person, because the level of people that you want to have in your company wouldn't be in the company if the level of leader that they have is not the level of leader that you are yet, right? So I just wanted to say it because it really aligns a lot with not only mentally the law of attraction, but the people that you attract in your life, and success as well, which is not chasing, is attracting by you becoming someone better.
Your frequency.
Yeah, vibration and frequency, and so, and you feel that, like, you can't explain it, you just feel it, right? So, and then the question, I'm in the same way, like, I wouldn't change anything. Now, if you ask me if you had to start a business tomorrow based on what you learned about those experiences, what would you have done differently? That's different, right?
Different equation.
That's a different question, and there's a lot that I have learned that, of course, with more experience and more failures, like, it shapes you to be a different person and make different decisions. And there's multiple things that I can go into when it comes to what would I do differently based on what I know now in the next business. But yeah, I wouldn't change anything. I agree with you guys. I believe that failure makes you who you are, and I don't see failure as a failure. I see it as a learning experience.
That's amazing. Thank you, Miguel. Guys, it's been great. I know everyone has commitments to get to. Where can we find you, my man?
I'm on Instagram. Obviously, that's where you met me. Jim_super_. And my companies are all listed on my profile as well. So
And for my audience, so we're gonna do a one-on-one soon on the books, and then I'm gonna have my team come to your place and shoot some stuff. I'd love to do that.
Actually, the podcast I'm working on too.
Oh, awesome!
We're building out a studio.
So
this is something I've been tiptoeing on for years. So that's one thing that I always have wanted to do. So Wolf's Den was supposed to be a podcast.
Oh, wow.
The name. Wow. It was supposed to be Wolf's Den, like at the Wolf's Den.
Love it.
The first place I've ever bought in Orlando, first location I got was to launch a podcast, but I wasn't ready. Now I know I wasn't ready for it. I started washing cars there instead.
Amazing.
So,
that's amazing.
Coincidentally, that led to my story of coming up. Still, and I left the name of my business, the Wolf's Den.
That's amazing.
So people say, "What do you do?" I'm like, "It's just the Wolf's Den, man.
That's a brand.
We just get shit done."
Oh,
The Ray Donovan of Windermere.
I love it. One of my favorite shows. I wish they bring it back. Where can I find you, buddy?
Wael Georgey, Instagram.
Or his amazing parties, which I've been dying to go to a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Dude, if you get an invite for him, his parties, they're infamous.
Just plan a couple days.
That I know.
Plan a party, and then
I think a babysitter. I have two young kids.
I learned my
Babysitter.
lesson on that one.
Oh, really?
Come on Halloween.
Yeah.
You guys
Let's do it.
Halloween party?
Halloween?
Yeah.
We're invited?
We'll throw one.
Let's do it.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh no, just make an excuse to throw one."
Oh, yeah. Miguel?
Yeah, same Instagram, Miguel Angel WT.
Awesome.
Yep.
Guys, thank you so much for coming on board.
Thank you.
We'll take a picture for my thumbnail after this. In 2 seconds, we'll be done. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That was great.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me, brother.